covering all the news from every dark corner of the universe. SliceofSciFi.com.
Hey, welcome everyone to another Slice of Sci-Fi. I am Michael Armenengay.
And I'm Ben Raggington.
I am Jedi Noah.
I'm Megan Zier.
Hey, Megan.
And I'm Keith Lane.
Awesome. And that is the crew that is with you today. We got, you know what? Let's start with a little bit of news because there's some interesting things happening out in the world, and we like to tell you about it.
Yes, it was 23 years ago today, April 24th, 1990. Mm-hmm. The Hubble Space Telescope was launched into orbit aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
The initial response to Hubble, well, a lot of people kind of saw what the first few shots of Hubble were, and they were less than enthusiastic. Well, and everybody thought, oh, God, we spent all that money on this? Well, turns out they had a little problem with the mirror and some of the focusing lenses, but after a little bit of tweaking, it delivered like no one can imagine. So
the images that came back after the fix were just phenomenal.
The fix. Yeah. I remember when one of the first photos I ever saw was that of the Eagle Nebula, and to this day I can look at that and still just my mind is blown.
It's some of the most iconic images that we have right now, and you can find them everywhere. It's amazing how many Hubble images are actually in the mainstream now. People don't even realize.
No, they're part of pop culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, since that time, the performance of Hubble has been revolutionary, and it has advanced the knowledge of our universe far beyond anything that we could have ever imagined. Mm-hmm. So it's been hoped that Hubble will continue to operate through at least 2020. Mm-hmm. We can keep our fingers crossed. And that's a good year, or a good 2 years beyond the launch of the replacement, which was supposed to be the James Webb Space Telescope.
Right.
NASA has already committed to funding Hubble through April 30th of 2016. But if we're lucky, it could continue beyond that date should Hubble continue to provide good science, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't.
That is what I was just going to say, is that I hope that they don't plan on trying to decommission this thing before it's time, because there's
too much good stuff still out there.
There's no reason that we can't have two telescopes in orbit doing
That's
double
true.
the work.
Absolutely.
I mean, Hubble is proven. It works. It's great.
We could have 3D images.
Exactly.
We could have
Stereoscopic images.
Stereoscopic imaging.
Dude, that would be awesome. That galaxy field in 3D. All your little ViewMasters would be so much cooler. Oh, man.
ViewMaster. My God.
The ViewMaster. Break out your ViewMaster, kids.
The Hubble ViewMaster. That would be awesome.
That is great.
The one thing I do have to say that I miss about when the Hubble first launched and it was broken was it was just some of the funniest political cartoons I ever saw coming out of that.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, some of Hubble's most iconic photos, like you said, they're part of pop culture. They've been splashed all over the place. Front pages, coffee mugs. I mean, you can't go anywhere without seeing it. They take the images and put them into movies, like in Star Trek and in First Contact. I mean, it's just just amazing stuff.
And it's all public domain.
Yeah, it's all public. I mean, and
that's what's nice about it.
You could go to any person on the street and tell them, say, what's the Hubble telescope, and they'll know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, there you go. There's our stories. This is a voicemail show, a listener feedback show. This is when we talk about the stuff that you've sent in. So let's do a little bit of that.
Hey, Slicers, it's the Bionic Geek. Mike, since nobody can really imagine that the studio is in that particular house, and you'd like to keep it that way, do you close the blinds like you would see on a swinger house?
They're blacked
like that?
out, actually.
And that's why you've been doing so much home improvement, is to install the soundproofing. I got it now.
No, I've been doing a lot of home improvement for other reasons. But yeah, the studio is actually pretty dark. It's kind of a dark hole when there's no lighting in here because we don't want outside lighting. So, yeah, it's
control freak.
I am a control freak. That's exactly
it. It is a particularly good thing in the Phoenix summer.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Slicers, this is Trampus. Actually got a message for Mike from Des Moines. You went to Planet Comic-Con here in KC and you didn't let me know? Dude, I would have totally met you. Oh, well. Maybe next time we can hook up and get some barbecue together.
Wow.
I like that we're a messaging service now.
We are a messaging service.
I
It's
love that.
amazing.
Yeah.
Connecting geeks all over
In fact,
the
if
world.
people would just send messages to each other, we wouldn't have to comment at all.
There you go. That's another show that we have yet to name.
As the Slice of Sci-Fi show's resident sociologist, my ears instantly perked up when I heard class warfare in space. Now, I have to ask, what kind of disparity are we talking about here? Are we talking about social disparity, income disparity, wealth disparity, which is not necessarily income disparity? Where are we all going with this? I'm curious.
I'm thinking water rights and mineral rights.
Yeah.
The things that are actually the most needed out there. So,
And they always show up in sci-fi stories anyway, so why not?
Of course, why not? I mean, you could have range wars over water and minerals and things that basically keep you alive. That's actually wow, that is weird. I can't believe I'm going to Total Recall on this one, but I mean, air, that was their big thing in Total Recall. The real one, not this thing that they came up with afterwards.
Right. Well, and it's also, I guess, an interesting question what kind of, technology disparity you might have going out into futuristic outer space worlds as well.
Yeah, you're running on old tech and you got new tech, and the new tech is superior to the old tech, and that gives you wow. A lot of discussion.
That sounds like a new book, Mike.
I know. That's what I was thinking.
Hey, Slice, it's the Bionic Geek. Thank you so very much.
Okay.
For giving my girlfriend a new purpose in life by mentioning World War Z the musical.
Oh, good Lord.
To go to see a musical or a Shakespeare theater company play for years. But I won't go because I need captions. And I made the offhand comment that World War Z the musical I might just go see just for the hell of it. And now I think that she's going to move hell or high water to make this happen.
It's inevitable.
We all want to see tap dancing zombies.
Absolutely. I want tap dancing zombies.
Yeah,
I think
we had Evil Dead the musical here like a year or two ago. That was amazing.
They can do anything with anything in musicals. I've discovered that nothing is out of bounds or off limits for musicals.
Apparently, there's also a Reanimator musical as well now.
Really?
Oh, no.
Reanimator the music. Wow. That hurt my brain.
Hi, this is Sam and Brett here. Hello. Say hi, Brett.
Hi, Brett.
Today, we're on the train to Frankfurt, the Flughafen, which is the airport. And while we're on the train, wir spielen Ticket to Ride. Show them the iPad. Ticket to Ride. We're on the train, playing the train game. It's awesome.
Well, that's totally cool.
That is the way to do it right there. So,
although Brett looked hardly enthused.
I know. Well, I think he was engrossed. That's probably, or he's just gross. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, thank you for taking my joke.
Actually, it brings up an interesting question because I'm taking a trip. I'm flying to St. Louis in a couple of weekends to, visit the devastated future wreckage. I suppose, but I'm trying to figure out what game should I be bringing with me.
Well, no, there's a Defiance
Obviously
game.
Defiance, yeah.
Clearly.
Defiance.
Defiance the game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Make sure you pack your whole computer or PlayStation or whatever, and that's what you bring.
Well, that brings up a good point. The International Tabletop Day game, or the gaming day that was happening, we're still getting remnants of that, and actually kind of reinvigorated us around here to start doing gaming more often. The game there. You guys went to the Film Fest, which was the thing that we did a couple weeks ago. I'm just kind of rehashing what we've done over the past few weeks. You had a great time at that, right?
Oh, that was an amazing time. And it wasn't just the movies like we had talked about. I mean, they had panels, they had workshops, and they had a really nice game floor.
Yep.
That all of us kind of kind of got lost on it. They had several games all set up. They had video games set up, and you were playing some stuff. What were you?
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. That's what they really did right. Is it was a film festival, but they threw so much other interesting things in to keep you occupied the whole time. So for myself, I got to try out a couple games I've been curious about. Smash Up and Android Netrunner were the two that I played, but they also had King of Tokyo out. And
I couldn't remember whether it was Stomp on Tokyo or what the name of that.
King of Tokyo.
King of Tokyo. Stomp on Tokyo.
Well, it might as well be.
That's what you do. My
I play
God.
that every day with my Legos.
But one thing they had there that was really unique and interesting is they had it was a projection screen hooked up to a computer program, and you were handed a virtual spray paint can.
Oh, that's right. They were talking about this.
And,
I want to hear this
you
one.
you would do virtual graffiti. Like
That was the pixel paint.
You're right.
Pixel painting, yeah. I heard about this at CES a couple years ago. When they debuted it, and it was like this gigantic, huge hit.
Yeah,
It was really popular.
Did the
that was
college
the
students
only
behave
one.
themselves?
I didn't see anybody behaving inappropriately.
Well, somebody was over there with the edit button, I'm sure.
They were upstairs.
That looks like an F. Delete.
But they were
I
upstairs.
was
They were
thinking
upstairs,
anatomy,
yeah.
actually, but
Yeah,
okay.
they were upstairs, and there were some younger people there. So I think anybody who decided to operate the pixel paint decided to behave themselves.
Really? But that
Faith
just
in humanity.
that lends well to geeks. See, we're just
Right. Well,
it's the geek
and
culture.
they provided all kinds of different stencils and drawings that you could fill in, and you could pick your different. You could choose fill, or you could choose different nozzles. So you could choose to do your own spray.
So
and-
basically, it's Microsoft Paint on a big screen.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it was.
So what did you draw, Noah?
Oh, I just sort of filled in something that was already pre-drawn, and then decided it wasn't good enough, and went on to something else.
Anybody do a
but it was a
Campbell
lot of
soup
fun to
can?
do it.
Somebody should have done a soup cam.
No.
Yeah, well, I know that what you can do though is you can get really into like putting the stencils and getting your drawings, putting it all together, and then they'll print it out for you there to take it home with
very
you.
cool. So now you guys also did some other stuff there.
Oh, we did
yeah.
it was
interviewed a
incredible.
number of people. We interviewed the owner of Game On.
Mm-hmm.
He was absolutely fantastic, and he showed us some of the games that they were selling. And we did a follow-up interview with Helen Stevenson, which was just delightful. Of course, we saw some of the movies, and the first movie we saw was Forbidden Planet, and holy cow, did that look great.
I was all set to do that. I really wanted to see Forbidden Planet, and I was traveling for work, and I got stranded, and I didn't think I was going to get home in time. I landed at 8:26, and we made it to see Forbidden Planet.
Just in time.
Just in time.
Yeah, we drove like 90 miles an hour going up to Prescott. But it looked amazing, and I was afraid that it was going to be some old flawed 35 or maybe even a 70 millimeter print, but it wasn't. It was actually a digital projection.
Wow.
And
It was flawless.
And the highlight was?
The highlight was meeting Rod Roddenberry.
Wow.
And
we actually have video.
We
of that.
got the video.
Well, let's watch that.
Hi, this is Ben Raggington from Slice of Sci-Fi, and I have the enormous honor of being in the presence of sitting at the table with Rod Roddenberry. He's the son of the late Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, and you've been on this great Goodwill tour, talking about your father, talking about Star Trek. You made this movie Trek Nation. Yeah. So what was it that inspired you to want to go out and share your stories about your father?
Well, first, it's a pleasure to be here, so thank you for having me. It was really, I wanted to humanize my father. And by that I mean, I knew him as a young boy, and then he passed away when I was 17. Never really knew him as an adult. And everyone I talked to would say, the great bird of the galaxy, the visionary. And it wasn't to find the bad stuff out, it was really just to get an understanding of the man. Because I had all these extremes of people telling me who this guy was. I needed to go out and find out really who the man was. And it was an amazing journey. It took 10 years. It took a lot longer than 10 years, but the documentary took 10 years. And it was wonderful. There was such a disconnect between his son and his father by having this almost this Greek god, this great bird of the galaxy. How does the son identify with that? So by learning about all different aspects of him, his history, I was able to connect with him and even love him in a way that I didn't get to when he was alive.
Yeah, because you probably just knew him, he'd go to work, in the morning and then come home, and that's all you knew him as. He's my dad. He goes to work. He comes home in the evening, and that's it. So yeah, I'm sure there was, I wouldn't call it baggage, but I'm sure there was this trying to understand this mythic figure that publicity had.
Absolutely, and I knew him as a young boy, and he was a great father then. But of course, I became a teenager and rebellious, and he got busy with the next generation, and so there was definitely a disconnect there. And I think all sons and daughters try to discover who their parents are, and some have the bravery to do it early on in their life, and some don't get the chance because they don't until they pass away. So I've had the fortunate privilege of getting to know who my father was after his passing through different people and through different mediums.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for your couple of minutes to talk to you. It's awesome that you could be here at this mini fest. I mean, this is amazing. So,
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Thank you very much. It's been great talking to you. And from Slice of Sci-Fi, this is Ben Raggington saying, keep on slicing.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Very nice.
I would say that Roddenberry was one of the nicest people. You can see that interview on our Facebook page, our Slice of Sci-Fi Facebook page there.
You can see all the interviews.
All the interviews that we had.
We did like 6.
We did several interviews. We also did some wrap-up regarding movies that we had seen. And I do want to point out one little thing, because this poor fellow didn't get any credit.
I was going to say it.
You saw there was a Trek Nation poster behind the table that Rod and I were sitting at. Well, we couldn't pin it up there because it was going to be signed by all the guests and it was going to be given away. So Noah...
You're giving away the trade secrets here.
Noah was behind the wall holding it like so. And Keith had the camera low just below so you couldn't see the fingertips. And I said, well, here's our key grip.
That is awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, definitely go check that out, because there's some really great stuff that came from that.
I would also...
and something we should mention, the Trek Nation is on Netflix for those of you who have Netflix.
And I would have to add that if you haven't seen Trek Nation, please go see it. That movie is a love letter to Star Trek fans.
It truly is.
Yeah. And the Q&A session was great afterwards. Yes. And of course, leading after that was actually, to me, one of the real highlights was following all of that.
The stargazing?
Stargazing.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Wow.
It was great fun. Just loved it.
Okay.
Good evening, Slicers. Danny the Blind Geek, and I want to applaud the makers of Mute. They are thoughtful, kind, and considerate to those people who make their living doing audio description.
Whoops.
I can't wait to hear it.
Not exactly what's the thing. No, that's not quite it. Sorry, Danny. That's actually a movie that's coming out. It's a silent movie.
Right, everybody. Hi, Slicers. It's Joyful Orb. And I listened to your ideas on the TMNT Perfect Cast. I'm thinking Guillermo del Toro directs, Ken Watanabe plays Shredder, Ken Watanabe plays Splinter, Chow Yun-Fat plays Shredder, and Benedict Cumberbatch plays Casey.
No.
An American has to play Casey.
John Woo should handle the action scenes. Guillermo del Toro should handle the writing, the acting, the design, and absolutely everything else. And if you want it to be not from the comics, but from the good old happy, bouncy pizza cartoon movie days, Terry Gilliam directs.
Happy and bouncy.
It would definitely be something
it would be warped.
Different. Holy cow. Yeah, no, not Cumberbatch. No,
he's not a Casey.
Yeah, but I have to say, I never would have put Terry Gilliam together with that idea. That's actually kind of interesting.
I know, it sounds really good now, right?
I would watch that. I would watch that.
Good evening, Slicers. Danny the Blind Geek again. We're talking about ratings. Why is the rating system broken, especially in the States? Sex, nudity, they're all natural, they're all biological, they're all normal in context. Swearing, they're just words. A shit is a poo is a crap. But violence,
that
seems quite okay. You can have networks where you can't say shit, but you can have people being eviscerated, or you can have monsters biting people to pieces. You can have all sorts of gore and things, but you can't show a boob.
Right.
I really don't get why we have such a huge polarity between, or polarity is a bad word.
Oh, I do.
This huge divide. Why are certain things okay and others not? At least I prefer pay TV.
I do. But we're not going there.
And things because, well, it's all there. They're not just having a feast of violence without everything else. You get a feast of boobies as well.
Mm-hmm.
Having said all that, I do love my violence. I just don't see why that is so different to other forms of ratings scandal.
Mm-hmm.
Love the show.
Oh gosh, I do, but we're not having that.
That would take an entire show.
It
to
is
discuss.
actually an entire show. It is actually a subject that we have done several shows on in the distant past, and it's probably time to revisit that again. But
rating systems 101.
Yeah, basically why this is it's actually more than that. It's even social. It's a
reflection on culture.
Pretty sure it boils down to Puritanism.
It is that. There's some of that, and it has to be with the people who are in power that actually put that in place. See, we're actually doing it. We'll go there even if you say you don't want to go there, you'll go there because it's just such an infectious conversation and it keeps going and going. So you know what, folks? I want you to send your comments in on this, and we may have to just do a show dedicated to it. You know the numbers: 206-339-TREK. That's 206-339-8735. Use your iPhone app. Send us something, video related and so forth. It'll be awesome. Yeah, it's time to have that conversation again, I think.
Yeah.
Good morning, folks. Remember, today is Eclipse Day. Visibility is great for most of the world. Australia and New Zealand need to watch pre-sunrise in a few hours. India has the best view at almost midnight. Europe is around there or slightly before, and Eastern South America needs to catch the eclipse right when the moon rises over the Atlantic. Coming to quakes, this killed a dozen people. Won't count for my 6 magnitude rubric, but for others using different scaling, it was the largest earthquake there in 6 months. 11 years ago, this was the best we had. Now, synthetic aperture radar allows us to penetrate the canopy and see real flood data. Seems to be some confusion in comments and messages about exactly where the Voyagers are. You should see Voyager 1 encountering more galactic particles than Voyager 2, but not yet free of our sun's influence. Once that happens, they will need to confirm a directional change in the magnetic field and then declare them to be beyond. Everyone should hop over to Tony Phillips' spaceweather.com to see the elliptical moon halo story. Some guesses as to what causes them, and an atmospheric optics expert saying something strange is happening in our skies. You guys are going to have a field day with that one in the comments section. Quickly going around the RSOE alert map, got red tide warnings in Turkey. Apparently the downpours put on a light show for Northland yesterday. Good to hear it was mostly a visual event. Not so in New Orleans, where the damage totals will wait for daybreak. Buoy in event mode, Northern Pacific. There are such things as rogue waves, but a 45-meter deviation from top to bottom is over a 100-foot wave. I say that must be an error because it's the type of thing people on coastlines would tend to notice, or ships and shipping lanes. Forgive this crude photo, it's part of the invasive species translocation study, but highlights that the northern lines are indeed one of the 4 primary paths across the world's largest ocean. So indeed, this appears to be an unreal reading. Flaring put us on the edge of our seat for about a week, but for 3 straight days now the Earth-facing quiet tracked at this channel for 2 years is continuing. Happened to catch a tiny sea flare in progress, and you can indeed still notice the energy signatures from those, which you see coming up into the North Pole area, which is not from the flare. It's actually a minor proton flux underway this morning. Let's keep a watch on that. Solar wind. As we expected yesterday, the density dropped off from readings near 100 to between 4 to 12 now. Speed jumped from 350 kilometers per second to nearing 500. Temperatures from around 3,000 up to 50,000 Kelvin. But despite strong disturbances in Earth's magnetic field, enough to allow enormous plasma penetration almost all day, enough to induce baseline resonances rising off the charts, it was not able to produce a magnetic storm. Instability was handled very nicely. In terms of sunspots, got big ones on the limbs, 4 small active regions in the middle, some developing, some in decay. The monster spot headed out is still Delta, quiet like her recent Earth-facing ancestors. Last test will be to see if a large eruption accompanies her departure from earthly influence. Turning towards Earth, we have decay in the north, spreading south, and a monster in the middle that appears magnetically mixed. Let's watch her for the next few days. Main umbral opening essentially past Earth. With the eclipse tonight and the coronal hole stream weaker than expected, we'll call it the last day of the watch. Interestingly, last bit of this, the red opening appears to dip close to the equator. It is that dark sliver just below the bright active region here, and it appears that it will face Earth when Saturn opposes the Sun. Our next watch will be short. I actually got some world weather imagery to close today before taking some last looks at our star as always. Eyes open. No fear, it's 6:25 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
Does anybody else think that if the end of the world comes, that this guy's going to know, like, way before anybody else?
And it'll be happening, and he'll just be sitting there going,
yeah,
I told you so.
You gotta watch those stupid sunspots. I tell you what.
I've been telling them all this time, and they wouldn't listen to me.
They've just been sandwiching me between news stories and video voicemails.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been telling the whole time.
All this time. That's right. The stuff is getting more interesting every week, though.
It certainly is.
Hey, Slicers, it's Arkle. Watching the latest show, and you were talking about the casting for the new Ninja Turtles movie, and all the speculation about who Will Arnett's going to be playing. I have a thought about that, actually, and granted, maybe because I have this attachment to the '87 cartoon series, but is it possible that they're going to have him play Vernon? That would be interesting, I guess.
I don't remember who
Well,
Vernon
probably
is.
not. What works in cartoon doesn't always work in live action, or rarely works in live action. Really.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I guess if they cast someone who could possibly be playing Irma, I guess we'll know for certain.
I do not know who that is, but
I haven't seen it in such a long time, I don't remember.
For a second there, I thought he was going to say Baxter Stockman.
Wow.
Flyhead.
Vernon's Vernon. Don't you remember Vernon?
I'm somebody that just doesn't believe there was anything after the comics.
No.
Not even Krang? Was Krang in the comics?
I don't think I read far enough into it to remember.
Krang!
Hey guys, it's Media Man from West Virginia with a suggestion for you. Wanted to find out, how about doing a show focused on upcoming summer movies for the 2013 season? We're coming up on
yes, that will actually be coming soon. We are we're in the works on that. I know we need to get to it really quick because, as you see over my shoulder, Iron Man is like next week.
Is Iron Man coming out? I was unaware.
Yes, Iron Man is coming out next week.
I know.
So in honor of, I've got my new poster.
That's awesome.
Hey, Slicers, Mike from Des Moines. And thanks to my mom, I found out that they now have Soylent Green crackers.
Yes, they do.
That, quote,
no way.
may or may not be really made of people, unquote.
Yes.
And apparently it's fully licensed to somebody. Anyway, I just thought I'd point this out. It's at Think Geek.
Oh.
Of course.
I was hoping I could get them at Walmart or something.
And I figured, they need a new tagline other than just like grandma's used to taste.
No!
It should be, I see dead people, and they are tasty with ranch dip.
I
like that.
I really like that.
At thinkgeek.com. Have a good one. Bye.
I'm going to buy some Soylent crackers. I'm absolutely going to get some Soylent Green crackers.
Yeah, I just
you got to have it.
I hope he got the patent on that marketing line there.
That's a good one, actually.
Hello, Slicers, Real here with my 2 cents on Defiance. And so I finally watched the first episode. Haven't got to the second one yet. That's today, I think. I'll be getting to it. But so far, I've enjoyed it. It's a really cool world they've built. It's a little insane and over the top, but fun. You can definitely tell it's coming from a video game perspective. But there is one little thing I think is missing. I would love to see this somewhere in the town. I just think that'd be pretty shiny. This has been, as always, surreal.
Nice.
The lawyers are going to be after him any minute now.
Expect Fox to be knocking down your door.
He didn't call it the Jane hat.
No, he didn't.
That's the Adam Baldwin hat. That's right.
Hey guys, it's Matt in Washington, D.C. I think it's worth pointing out in terms of a Eureka web series that I came up with a T-shirt that I wore to Dragon Con 2 years ago that was a City of Eureka Fire Rescue Department. Just looked like a normal firefighter duty T-shirt, but it was, it was Eureka. And since the Eureka Fire Department got so little action in the actual TV show, it was always Carter putting stuff out. I think that would make an outstanding, limited run web series of all the different stuff that Eureka Fire Rescue has to deal with.
There's a whole area.
There's a wealth of material. I mean, I can't imagine that all the stories revolved around Sheriff Carter and all the people at Global Dynamics. I'm sure there are smaller stories in the town that are just as interesting, just as compelling, and just as much fun.
Absolutely. The Eureka dry cleaner had to be a really interesting story.
Hey guys, it's Matt in Washington, D.C. Megan is wrong!
Excuse me?
No.
Specifically, Fringe is now available on Netflix.
Yes, it is.
For
Actually, it is.
all of your mainlining, power watching, whatever
Dare
you want
they? Where was that when I was trying to catch up on it?
Season 5 isn't uploaded yet.
No,
but
it isn't.
From what I can tell, Fringe seasons 1 through 4
are available.
All the way through are available to stream instantly on Netflix.
But
So not
to
fair.
be perfectly fair,
When I
it's
said that, it wasn't.
It's in the new and noteworthy, so it just
Yeah.
came in on the new releases stuff.
When I said it, it was not. 'cause-
it was
Actually,
it's
I
recent.
should point out Scott Purdy on, I believe it was on Facebook, the very next day after we said that, said, no, it's there.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, well, we'll make you feel better then.
Hey guys, it's Matt in Washington, D.C. Megan is right, and all of you are wrong. Picard clearly got out of the Nexus because, as has been demonstrated across the Enterprise 4-season run, all of the events in First Contact did, in fact, happen, from the destruction of the Borg and the relic of their ship that was left behind to the successful launch of Zefram Cochrane's Phoenix spaceship. It all clearly happened because Captain Archer and the crew confirmed that for us. Thank you very much. Tip your waitresses. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I still disagree.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it.
I don't care. I feel vindicated.
They're all in the Nexus.
All of them.
All of them.
They're all a fiction. They're all a figment of Picard's mind now.
Okay.
They're all part of his fantasy.
I only need one person to agree with me. I feel great.
All right, one more video and we're going to call it a wrap, I think.
Okay.
Hey, Slice of Sci-Fi crew, Moldy Squid here, calling in for the show that has not been named. A couple of points I'd like to talk about. The first is the Canadian show Murdoch Mysteries that another caller had mentioned. I would like to point out that it is not steampunk, as the other caller implied. I've been watching it since it premiered here in Kadath in the Cold Waste about 6 years ago. Murdoch Mysteries is a straight-up historical police procedural whose protagonist, Detective William Murdoch, is a budding scientific and engineering genius. During the course of his investigation of the crime of the week, Murdoch will need to invent some device to aid him in solving the mystery. He invents things like night vision goggles, sonar, security cameras, all with 1890s technology and materials. I can see where some viewers might get the impression that the show is steampunk, but it's not. I would hate for someone to stop watching this excellent show just because they heard it was steampunk and it actually wasn't. The next point is another superb Canadian show that ran in the late 1990s called Total Recall 2070. This is a near-future police procedural that is a mashup of Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and Isaac Asimov's The Caves of Steel, with some Raymond Chandler thrown in for spice. It only ran for 24 episodes before being cancelled, and it has never been shown in its entirety in the United States. A heavily cut version did show on one of the streaming services, but they took out all of the boobies. It might be difficult to find, since the only source I know of is through alternate means, but it's well worth checking out. The production values are high, the writing is very good, and the story arc has some pretty deep themes about corporations running wild, the impact of technology on society, and the meaning of sentience. It's most easily described as Blade Runner meets NYPD Blue. Oh, and one last thing I wanted to pop in. The Living Daylights is a brilliant James Bond theme. It might not be as awesome as Adele's Skyfall, but it's certainly better than Duran Duran's View to a Kill. Moldy Squid, signing off.
Very nice. Well, that was cool. There's some stuff I didn't know about.
I got nothing.
The entire audience is
None of us knew anything.
Nobody knew anything. Okay, you know what? That's going to do it for this show then. Alrighty, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for calling and tuning in and leaving us feedback and messages and video and all that fun stuff. Use your iPhone app. You can make really cool stuff just like Molly Swid did, and it's more than just feedback. It's just more than voicemails. It's actually interesting content that we need in the show. And that'll do it.
That's it.
Thanks. Bye.
Keep on slicing.
Just like that. Bye.